Good morning, everyone. If you're like me, you may have precious cargo in the backseat of your vehicle. Now, safety experts are putting mid-size SUVs to the test to see how those vehicles protect passengers who are sitting in the back seat. Christian Benavidez reports.
The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety sent 13 mid-size SUVs crashing into a barrier at 40 miles per hour. All of them received good marks for protecting the driver in the front seat, but that changed when analysts looked at the back seat. Of the 13 vehicles tested, only 4 models earned good ratings for protecting rear passengers.
That's more or less what we expected.
Raul Arbeláez is vice president of the Vehicle Research Center at IIHS and says the team anticipated those results because this is the first time they've analyzed backseat safety in this class.
We added this test because we have seen both in real-world data and in our crash tests that protection really could be improved in the rear seat.
According to the IIHS, the risk for fatal injury is 46% higher for people in the back of the vehicle.
It's not that the back seat has gotten more dangerous, but restraint technologies have improved in the front.
What is the difference between the protection for the driver than it is for the rear passenger?
One of the things we've seen for many years is protection getting better and better for front seat occupants. We've seen airbags and better seatbelts and improved structure.
He says the safety technology is available to improve the back seat.
With advanced seatbelts and better placement of, say, the anchor points of those seatbelts, we believe that safety really will reach levels that we see in the front seat.
The IIHS expects the auto industry to make those changes in future vehicles. Christian Benavidez, CBS News, Miami.
Well, some nights, you just can't sleep. According to a recent poll, almost 7 in 10 adults who don't sleep well say it affects their mental health. Now, a new study shows our sleep habits can also affect life expectancy. Janet Shamlian has the tips that experts say could help you sleep better and live longer.
A good night's sleep won't just make you feel better. It could add years to your life.
What surprised you about the findings in this study?
The potential years of life expectancy gain. So just based on, I think, fairly achievable targets in terms of sleep quality.
For women, more than 2 additional years. For men, almost 5. According to the American College of Cardiology study, which included more than 170,000 Americans. Dr. Carol Ash is a sleep expert.
We now know that poor quality sleep can lead to many of the chronic diseases we're trying to treat and can shorten your lifespan.
Like cardiovascular disease and diabetes. The study qualified a good night's sleep as 7 to 8 hours a night, not using sleep medication, feeling well rested at least 5 days a week, and no trouble falling or staying asleep most nights.
What are good sleep habits?
Your body needs time to wind down at night. You want to make sure that your environment is calm, quiet, and dark and cool.
Also, aim for regular bedtime and avoid alcohol and caffeine before sleep. Stay away from screens like your phone or television, and don't discount a midday nap.
Speaking of naps, what's a coffee nap?
The idea is if you take a nap and drink the coffee right before the nap, you'll be able to get 20 minutes or 40 minutes of nap time in. And when you wake up, you'll have the caffeine burst just as you're waking up out of the nap.
Putting sleep issues to bed for potentially longer life. Janet Shamlian, CBS News, Houston.
All right, I'm not a big nap person because I get that nap hangover, but okay, we'll see. So if part of your plan this year has been to get up and get moving a little more, listen to this. A new study is suggesting a simple prescription for those of us who sit for long periods during the day. Here's Jared Hill with more on that.
On the path to a healthier life.
So how hard does this exercise feel for you?
New research shows some quick strolls throughout the day can go a long way. Scientists have known for years that spending too much time sitting can increase the risk for heart disease, diabetes, even some forms of cancer.
More cognitive tests?
But Dr. Keith Diaz at Columbia University Irving Medical Center says his new research is revealing a simple solution.
We found a 5-minute light walk every half hour offset many of the harms from sitting.
The study adds to growing evidence that breaking up prolonged sitting is necessary, even if someone exercises on a daily basis.
Why did you decide to
to even get involved with the study?
Because I had a major change of life. I retired.
Stephen Solomon says without the daily commute to the office or the activities after work, he found himself just sitting around a lot more.
So I have to kind of self-manage this. But in order to do this, you need to know what's helpful.
Researchers say you don't need to do anything too rigorous. Just a slow walk like that can make a surprising difference.
Taking a walking break every half hour and walking for 5 minutes reduced the blood sugar spike by 60%. Those are levels that are similar to what you'd see if someone were using insulin injections or diabetic medications to control blood sugar.
But the team recognizes that may not work for everyone, which is where their current research comes in.
I think the goal is for people to say, okay, based off of my lifestyle, based off of the work that I do, this is a strategy that I need to use.
Not a magic pill, but maybe a more helpful prescription to put many of us back on the right track. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Researchers stress this should not be thought of as a replacement for regular exercise. All right, a new report from the Alzheimer's Association shows the number of people being diagnosed continues to increase as the baby boomer population ages. Naomi Ruckham has more on the toll the disease can take on patients and their caregivers.
Are you okay?
Okay. William Rodriguez has been caring for his wife Maria since her Alzheimer's disease diagnosis several years ago. He says he realized something was off when his wife began misplacing things.
Silverware and plates and whatever came into her mind, and she would stick it underneath that bookcase.
It's estimated 6.7 million Americans over the age of 65 are now living with Alzheimer's, a number projected to grow to nearly 13 million by 2050. A new Alzheimer's Association report also finds patients and doctors are not talking about memory concerns.
It's important for primary care physicians to make this discussion a routine part of clinical care to get patients the diagnosis and the care that they need.
Neurologist Dr. Nicole Purcell says without these essential conversations, patients lose out on early interventions and possible clinical trials for treatment. The new report also estimates more than 11 million caregivers are providing unpaid care in the U.S.
Caregiving is a difficult job. Approximately 59% of caregivers report experiencing emotional stress as a result of caregiving.
How important is it to both of you stay mentally okay and happy?
That's extremely important, because if I can't function for her, then, it's all going to go down the drain.
Rodriguez says as his wife's memories are fading,
I like to remember her the way she was, not the way she is.
He focuses on remembering all the joyful moments he's had with the love of his life for more than 50 years. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Now, though there is no cure for Alzheimer's disease, there are medications and trials aimed at slowing its progression. There are currently more than 140 therapies being tested. All right, your bracket may be ready for March Madness. Now, let's check on your tech. That's next on Mid-Morning. All right, welcome back, everyone. How is your bracket looking? The Legends and the Cinderella teams are on the court for the NCAA tournament. Fans are glued to screens as teams battle to the top. From our coaches to our desks, a lot of us will be streaming this year. So Matt Cook is joining us from AT&T to give us an alley-oops of sorts of our viewing experience. Great to have you back, Matt.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're right in the middle of March Madness. The games are on everywhere. Help us to have a good experience watching, because we can't be at the games.
Absolutely. So most importantly, you'll want to make sure you know where to watch. Most games will be broadcast right here on WCBI TV, with a few on TBS, TNT, and True TV.
All right. So some people, let's say if you don't have cable but you're streaming, and a lot of people will be streaming, because let's just be honest, some people are going to be at work watching basketball, right?
Sure, absolutely. Yes, ma'am. If you want to stream through CBS All Access. You can use Hulu with live TV, watch through PlayStation View's Access package, and even DirecTV Now's Live a Little package.
All right, so some of those services people may already have, you can do that.
Sure.
A lot of people also are going to do this, which I would say don't do, because you're going to ruin those eyes, but some people will be watching on their phones.
So if you do decide to stream, run a speed test first, where you're going to be watching. Know what your ups and down speeds are.
Okay, so when you say so if I know I'm going to be watching, say, on my lunch break at the park, I need to go there and test it out to see what the speed is going to be like in that specific location.
You want to know what the signal is, yes, just so you don't have it. And you can use fast.com or Speed of Me will take you and show you your speed expectation.
All right. What if I'll tell you what I use a lot when I'm traveling is a hotspot. So I have a hotspot on my iPad, and usually the speed on that is okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
All
it's
right.
pretty similar to what your cellular signal would be, sure.
Okay. All right. You also say it can get a little expensive, especially if you're watching by phone.
Yeah, if you do watch by phone, when you check your speed, of course. But if you are having signal issues around the home, we do have something called a cell booster.
Okay.
It's $300 at ATT.com. It's a little pricey, but it will give you an extension of your cellular signal for sure.
So is this like a one-time thing?
Yes.
Or a one-time price, but how long does that boost last?
So it's a device, and it will.
Oh, so it's a device.
Yes,
okay. All right.
I don't think there's a subscription.
Okay. All right. But we do. But you know, there's an initial $300 that's involved with it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And finally, you say keep those phones charged, right?
Yes, ma'am. At least to 10% or more.
So when you get down to 10%, I find that when I get down that low, it seems like the charge goes really fast after it gets down that low. Almost anything you're doing at that time, you're going to hit zero pretty fast.
Yes, ma'am.
So 10% or more.
Right.
And I always like to tell people keep charging stations everywhere.
Absolutely. Keep a charge station close to you with multiple port tips.
All right. Very good tips as always. We appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoy the games.
You too.
Hope your team wins.
All
All right. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone. Here's some big news about NASA's plans to return to the moon. Even though the mission is still 2 years away, the space agency is ramping up preparations. The Artemis 3 mission, set for 2025, will send the next man and first woman to the lunar surface. NASA and Axiom Space this week unveiled the design of the new spacesuit that will be worn by the future moonwalkers. Mark Strausman traveled to Houston to get a sneak peek of the new suit.
It's got to be one of the most proud moments of my life, I guarantee you.
Spacesuits. To go back to the moon, NASA's closet needed a refresh.
That is the most beautiful sight.
In space, to dress for success is a matter of survival.
How hard is this?
Very. It is very, very challenging. The glove bladders is kind of the inner layer.
Russell Ralston works for Axiom Space. Last September, NASA hired the Houston Aerospace Company to build a new spacesuit for the first Artemis moon landing mission to the lunar South Pole. Here, shadowed craters are home to some of the coldest temperatures in the solar system, almost 400 degrees below zero.
Going into a permanently shaded region on the moon it's something that's never been done before by anything.
NASA spent 15 years developing its own next-generation moon suit before outsourcing the project to Axiom. The company adapted more than half of NASA's design.
So this is it?
Yes, it's pretty close. Inevitably, we'll tweak a couple things, but in large part, that's pretty much the suit.
With one notable cosmetic difference, the color. The outer layer will be white, made of Mylar and Kevlar.
So the actual flight suit will look more like this.
What about this suit would make Neil and Buzz and the Apollo guys jealous?
Oh, probably everything. I think this suit is going to have a huge leap forward in terms of mobility.
Oh, dadgummit.
The Apollo suits were bulky, inflexible. Moonwalking astronauts often fell. Getting back up looked like slapstick.
It was hard work, yeah.
Charlie Duke was the 10th man to walk on the moon. He remembers even the simplest of tasks, like picking up a hammer, was a struggle.
Working against that suit was demanding, squeezing the gloves and moving the arms and trying to bend over, and so it was exhausting.
This suit will be much easier to walk in or to do a lot of the same tasks that they did back in Apollo and more, but to do it in a little bit easier way.
Axiom engineer Russell Kelly slipped into the suit to show us how flexible it can be.
You do that pretty easily.
Oh yeah, it's not too bad.
It's a top-to-bottom redesign. the helmets greater visibility, and these boots were made for moonwalking, thermally insulated for the moon's south pole.
Can you hit a golf ball in this suit? I hope so. I think you can.
And until now, no spacesuit was ever designed to fit a woman.
Oh, I think it looks really cool.
Peggy Whitson is director of human spaceflight at Axiom.
I'm heading back to the pillar. Copy, Peggy.
The former NASA astronaut has spent more time in space than any American and completed 10 spacewalks wearing suits now more than 4 decades old.
In some of them, I couldn't even get my hands together. That makes it hard to do a lot of detailed and delicate tasks.
Just to have a suit that fits.
Oh, it's huge.
This 21st century spacesuit is made with 21st century technology. Laser cutters precisely slice different fabrics. These 3D printers build components, saving time and money. But some parts are still assembled the old-fashioned way. In Axiom's sewing room, we met Zach Paugh. His resume includes the Houston Ballet and Cirque du Soleil. His new challenge? Space gloves.
There is definitely an added sense of responsibility with space work.
This is more exacting?
This is more exacting. Yeah, exactly.
Axiom suit prototypes will eventually be tested here at NASA's Neutral Buoyancy Laboratory. Part of the 40-foot deep pool now simulates a South Pole lunar landscape.
We can mimic partial gravity.
NASA's Laura Kearney oversees the program and will make sure Axiom is meeting requirements.
It's going to give us a really great indication of how mobile the suit is, and again, what kind of fatigue, if anything, the crew members are going to feel after working for 6 or 7 hours.
Making a suit for an astronaut is no ordinary trip to a tailor, and Axiom knows the stakes.
I go to church with astronauts. We see them when we're getting groceries. We know their kids. The product you're making, their life is going to depend on that. So it's something we take extremely seriously.
The moon seems closer than ever, and this new suit is a big step. Mark Strassman,
CBS News
in Houston.
It's a flight school that could lead to new heights. We'll tell you why next on Mid-Morning. Welcome back. So many people want to fly these days. The airlines hired nearly 50,000 new employees last year, but the industry is struggling to find enough qualified pilots. That prompted United Airlines to take a new approach. It has organized its own training course. Chris Van Cleve takes to the sky to see how it's going.
Ricky Foster's dream of becoming an airline pilot is really taking off after completing basic pilot training outside Phoenix.
I feel like an eagle up here.
We first met the former flight attendant and mother of 2 last year when she was among the 51 future flyers in the inaugural class of United's Aviate Academy. It's part of the airline's effort to address the continued pilot shortage and diversify a workforce that is overwhelmingly white and male.
Your graduating class looks nothing like a flight school anywhere else.
No, it looks nothing like the industry. But guess what it does look like? It does look like the demographic we serve. It looks like our passengers.
Airlines are hiring thousands of employees as travel demand has roared back from pandemic lows. Josh Azuha left his job as a Denver area police officer to attend Aviate.
The next step for me is to instruct here at the United Aviate Academy as a flight instructor and build my hours before ultimately, hopefully, transitioning to the airlines.
And there'll likely be a job waiting for him. United expects major U.S. carriers will need 10,000 new pilots this year alone, but only have about 6,600 qualified candidates. The cost and years of training to become an airline pilot discourages many people, despite a potential 6-figure salary.
Basically, you either had to go through the military or you needed to have access to someone willing to give you $100,000 to $150,000.
CEO Scott Kirby says United is the first major U.S. carrier to start its own flight school.
They're still 4 to 5 years away from showing up for their first day in a United Airlines cockpit. But it is the right kind of long-term answer to not just solving the pilot shortage, but creating good careers for people and giving people access to careers that can be life-changing for them, their families, and their communities.
New pilot Ricky Foster hopes to swap this small plane for a United flight deck, landing her dream gig within the next few years. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Phoenix.
Stay with us. We'll be back to wrap things up. All right, if you're looking to do some spring cleaning, the Habitat for Humanity resale store is looking to take those items off your hands. They even provide free pickup services. The store uses its profit to continue their mission of building homes and communities.
We go to the location, go to the homes, businesses, wherever calls us, and we just go through and get the furniture, get the boxes, whatever they have to donate, we just go and get that so they don't have to come here. You know, sometimes with large furniture, it won't fit into, you know, a back end of a truck, or they may not have a trailer. But we go out in our box truck and we're able to get multiple things at once and bring them back here.
And if you are interested in doing a pickup, you can call the Habitat for Humanity store and schedule a time. And that is all of our time for today. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day.